ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः 241st Doha. So Ramji has entered along with Vishwamitra ji and Lakshman ji into the Yajna Vedika, the Dhanusha Yajna Vedika. And there are people who had been anticipating his presence. And there were those who were shocked, surprised, afraid. There were lots of reactions. नारी बिलो कहीं हर्ष हिया निज निज रुचि अनुरूप जनु सोहत सिंगार धरी मूरति परम अनूप. So in the last week we saw that there were those who saw Bhagwan Ramchandra ji coming as a delight for their own eyes. The women folk who saw Ramchandra ji come, they saw him as the very embodiment of love, embodiment of somebody who is equal to many Kamadevas put together. He was looking that amazingly attractive. विदूषण प्रभु विराटमय दीसा बहुमुख कर पगलोचन सीसा. विदूषण प्रभु विराटमय दीसा. Those who are of the contemplative nature, those who meditate on the Lord, to such wise one, they saw that the Lord was Swayam, the Virata Rupa of that Paramatma, the Vishwarupa of that Paramatma. When that Vishwarupa takes the physical form as described in Sahasra Sirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva, that consciousness which is pervading this entire creation, Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Nayaka. How many Brahmanda? Akhilanda Koti, infinite number of Brahmandas, the boss of all these. They saw him as that Pratyaksha form of that Virata. Now to see that Virata form, is not an easy thing or a simple thing. They must have been meditating on that form, and today they had their pratyaksha darshan. That which you have been hearing, that which you have been told about, that which the Vedas are describing, suddenly, as if all that came into picture in a human form, and he was standing right in front of them. Bahumukha Karapaga Lochana Sisa Sahasra Sirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat. That Paramatma which is pervading through thousands of eyes, thousands of heads, thousands of hands, thousands of forms, innumerable. Thousand meaning it's not just okay, first thousand we count and then that's it. No, it means innumerable number of them. Bahumukha Kara Paga Lochana Sisa. Here, Sisa doesn't mean a bottle. Sisa means the head. Shirsha. Shirsha becomes Sisa. Sisa. जनक जाति अवलो कहीं कैसे सजन सगे प्रिय लागहीं जैसे. जनक jati. Janaka jati, those who were belonging to Janaka, the royal family. To all of the royal family, how was he appearing? Avalo kahi kaise? How were they seeing him? They were seeing him as if Sajan Sage Priya Lagahi Jaise. They were seeing him as if there was somebody who was lost. So it was more like a lost and found section. That he all it was the first time that they were seeing, but they felt so close to him, so endearingly close to him, as if he was a part of their own, as if he was something that had been always there, but they did not come to see, and they suddenly saw, अरे ये तो अपना ही लगता है. The feeling was uh, such that everybody was looking at each other and looking at Rama and say, you know, doesn't he feel like he belongs to us? He belongs here. There's that mamata, that vatsalya, or various kinds of apnapan, the feeling of oneness, the feeling of belongingness. They instantly felt that. It was a very pleasant feeling. That they looked at other kings, they did not match. Sometimes when you see some couple and they don't look like a match. One looks like a matchstick and the other looks like a tractor tire. It doesn't look like a match. I'm giving you just a physical thing to understand. सहित विदेह विलोक ही रानी शिशु मम प्रीति न जाति बखानी. सहित विदेह विलोक ही रानी. Janaka's wife, or I should say, various mothers sitting there, all the queens that were sitting there, when they saw him, the Vatsalya Bhava, it was overflowing. It was as if like, if this was not an environment of Maryada, and if it's not an environment of the Dhanusha Yajna, they would have immediately gone, hugged him, saying that, Beta, kahan the itne din? Sisu Mama, it's like my own child. My own child. It feels like, if I had a son, he would have been just like this. Sometimes it feels like it's a want, wish, wish that this is not like a wish. This is like, this is my son only. This is my son only from, I don't know where I feel the connection. I definitely see that this is my child only. And the preeti, the vatsalya bhava that was generated, that was overflowing in their hearts, there are no words that could describe. Probably they already had tears of joy looking at him. And then they say, Jogina Parama Tattvamaya Bhasa Santa Suddha Sama Sahaja Prakasa. Those who were the mendicants, those who were the meditating monks and rishis and sages, when they saw Bhagavan Ramchandra ji, they saw him as Satchidananda Parabrahma Paramatma, that which is Nirguna Nirakara, is standing in front of them as Saguna Sakara and yet appearing Nirguna Nirakara. Why Nirguna Nirakara? All the guna, all the akara that they have ever seen, ever perceived, ever come across, that the mind could envision, that the intellect could convince themselves with, felt very light, very, fake. Nothing like this they have ever seen. And this has to be that Paramatma alone. Santa Suddha Sama Sahaja Prakasa. He was Sahaja Prakasha. He was naturally glowing. Naturally glowing. He was not using Fair and Lovely. Definitely not using the rival market of Fairever. He was not using the any kind of external cream or sometimes the physical glow. It can be taken, badam ghut ghut ke piyo. People do that. And then put on the multani mitti and scrub and polish and shine and nothing of the unnatural. It was the natural glow. Why? Because he is the very form expressing of that conscious illumination. Sahaja Prakasha. Natural glow of that consciousness. Santa Suddha Sama Sahaja Prakasha. Shanta. Shanta. He was the embodiment of peace. That looking at him, all the turbulences of mind and intellect vanished away. All the restlessness that the mind ever carried is come to a stop. See, when we see something that is never been seen, experienced by the mind, and it is so awesome, so amazing, that the mind could not capture it, could not put it in uh, any known parameters. Sometimes when you come across something which is not an experience of yours and known parameters, there is more of turbulence and more of agitation that it creates. That why am I not able to place this as an experience, as something that can be cognized? It does happen. You see some weird thing there in the corner of your house, and you've not left it anywhere. Your children are not, and it just looks something peculiar. There is no peculiarity of it. It felt as if that it is the natural sahaja shanta, and therefore it was permeating. Therefore it was something which was uh, wrong word to use, but contagious. It was so impactful that their mind immediately felt that immediate peace, Shanta, Shuddha Sama. In Gurudev's Ashtottara Shatanamavali, the last word that is, or the compound word that is used is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupaya Namaha. He is Nitya, he is Shuddha. That which is Nitya need not be Shuddha. That which stays for a long period of time, sometimes it becomes stagnant and all the malinata comes in. But here this is that Nitya which is Shuddha. Therefore it is Nitya. Nitya Shuddha. Buddha. Buddha, that which is conscious. Sahaja Prakasha. Mukta. Mukta, the very form of liberation, the very form of the moksha. Pratyaksha Moksha Swarupaya Namaha. They were experiencing all that which they meditated upon as the Nirguna Nirakara was appearing in front of them. It's a very peculiar confluence of experience. To experience something which is Nirguna Nirakara as Pratyaksha. See, usually the experience that the mendicants or the meditating people experience that as a aparoksha. Aparoksha as one's own self. They were experiencing it, but pratyaksha. So, Joginism, Parama Tattvamaya Bhasa. So, Parama Tattva, the supreme essence, the effulgence, was seen walking into the Dhanusha Yagna. Then there were those हरि भगत न देखे दो भ्राता इष्ट देव इव सब सुख दाता हरि भगत न देखे दो भ्राता. Those who were the worshippers of Lord Sri Hari, they saw these two brothers walk in, and it was like without putting effort, their Ishtadeva has just appeared. Why? Because he is Karunya Swarupa. Beta, बहुत, I have taken too much of effort. And I give you my darshana. Why? Not because you qualify. Because I cannot see you put so much of effort. और थोड़ा लाइट ले लो, मैं आ गया. हरि भक्त न इष्ट देव इव सब सुख दाता. So they saw that Ishtadeva express. It need not be that their Ishtadeva was, Vishnu only. Whoever was their Ishtadeva, they saw that Ishtadeva in the form of Bhagavan Ramachandraji. And then, राम ही चितव भाय जहि सिया सो सनेहु सुख नहीं कथनिया उर अनुभवति न कहि सकसो कवन प्रकार कहे कवि को. सिया जब, it's a very beautiful name. In fact, I know of some people who have named their daughter as Sia. It's such a beautiful, non-harsh, simple name. A very loving name, Sia. So Sia meaning Sita ji. Sita ji, when she saw Bhagwan Ramchandra ji, she had already seen him, right? And she was seeing him again. And her eyes had knew no end to her joy. Maybe the background score was तुझे देखा तो बार बार देखो हजार बार देखो. Anything else नहीं देखने की चीज. And so Sanehu, the love that was, compellingly overflowing in her heart, n- nahi kathaniya, nahi kathaniya is not something that could have been very easily put to words. But the expression, the emotion was kicking out through all doors possible, through the eyes, through the lips, through the face. It was just overflowing. That, if at all, this Dhanusha Yajna ever had a meaning, the meaning is standing right in front of me. The purpose of this Dhanusha Yajna is standing right in front of me. So sanehu sukha nahi kathaniya. Uru meaning in her heart, in her bosom, in her chest. Anubhavati nahi kahi sakaso. Probably there were all these sakhis also, and she looked at them and looked at Ramji and said, and then all that there was no words that could match the expression. Probably she squeezed their hand stronger than ever. She was not just looking as a delicate darling. When she was quite young, it is said in Valmiki Ramayana, it comes that they were playing kanduka. Kanduka, they were playing cricket. What to do? Cricket season. That is what happens when you keep waking up all night long. Yesterday's. So when she was playing, with the ball went under the platform, which was holding the dhanusha, and usually it takes about 30-40 soldiers to move it aside. Sitaji with her left hand pushed it aside, picked the ball and went away. So don't take her for her looks. The strength behind the looks were pretty strong. So she must have squeezed the joy. And this is all my imagination, okay? Poor Tulsidas ji has not put these words. This is my imagination. Then, because Tulsidas ji says, Kavi ko with, this Kavi, how can he express this amazing experience that Sita ji was going through? And then he says, Yehi vidhi raha jahi jas bhau, tehi tas rekhevu kosal rau. In this way, everyone that was seeing, Bhagwan Ramchandra ji, they were having they were having such a personal experience, and each one had their own justification as to why they were feeling that way. Each one was viewing in their own perspective. And then continuing, राजत राज समाज महु कोसल राज किशोर सुंदर श्यामल गौरतन विश्व विलोचन चोर. विश्व विलोचन चोर. He is the one who has stolen. Stolen what? Stolen the hearts of everyone. So thus, when these two lovely uh, plural princess ही होता है ना? So when they both walked in, Sundara Syamala Gauratan, the black and white copy, Everybody's heart, everybody's eyes, everybody's bhava just froze in that moment in seeing with their individual bhava. Lord was one, but bhava was aneka, but all focused on Bhagavan himself. Because how was he? So that beauty is described. He says, and that is the beauty of Tulsidas ji. On one side he says, Kavi ko vid kahe sake. Now, how can this Kavi describe? And then he goes on to describe. So what is his description? सहज मनोहर मूरति दो कोटि काम उपमा लघ सो सरद चंद निदंक मुख नीके नीरज नयन भावते जी के सहज मनोहर मूरति दो. Very simple but very elegant looking. Sometimes when people come with all their decoration, it almost feels like their neck is going to break because they have put on so much of makeup, so much of that the cheek is going to let's fall off because of the weight of the things that have been applied on it. Or the ornaments that have been put is so heavy and so it looks very disproportionate and gaudy. Here it was looking godly and looking sahaja, manohara. Anybody's heart would have been stolen. Murati do koti kam upama laghu. So Kamadeva put about a few crores of them together, couple of crores, and still that Kamadeva's murti would be falling short in comparison. That in front of these two brothers, Kamadeva, who Kamadeva? Unrecognizable, because he was outshining even that form. Like Sarada Chanda Nindaka Mukhanike, the most pleasant, beautiful form of full moon is on the Sharat Purnima. And that Sharat Chandra, that full moon of the Sharat Kala, Sharat Rutu, that would feel like, in the comparison, it will feel so belittling, Nindaka, so belittling that it is not even worth comparing him to the moon. Meaning he was so glowing. See, sometimes the glow can be harsh. The midday, sometimes when you're driving in some of these tricky streets, when the sun is setting, sun is setting beautiful. Especially when I'm driving down to Chitrakoot from Saket in the evening, and I take that George Bush highway, it is straight right into the eyes. Blinding, very harsh. Even if you put on the, as they say, glares, the sunglasses, and still the glare is very strong. So it's very harsh. But the moon, when you look at it, it is still glowing, but it does not have that harshness in it. But that is where the example stops. That the glow was not harsh. But the glow was so overpowering that the moon feels like belittling the comparison. Saras Chandra Nindaka Mukhanike. Neeraja Nayana Bhavate Jike. The eyes were so full of compassion, full of innocence. When you see the child's eyes, It does not matter which creature. When you look at the eyes of any baby offspring, it looks very, very, attractive, pleasing, calming because of the innocence. And as we grow, it is long last. But here in the presence of Ramchandraji, when looking at Ramchandraji, his eyes, they were, you know, they were giving out the, they were, they were giving out the innocence flowing out. And he continues. चितवनि चारु मारु मनुहरणी भावति हृदय जाति नहि बरणी कलकपोल श्रुति कुंडल लोला चिबुक अधर सुंदर मृदु बोला चितवनि चारु मार मनु हरणी भावति हृदय जाति नहीं Bharani. Now, this beautiful form of the Lord, it was so endearing. Kala Kapola Shruti Kundala Lola. The cheeks were chiseled. When they say that the jaw and the cheekbones are well pronounced. It is not like, there's some kind of a fish, when it feels the threat, it suddenly bulges out, right? The face was not looking like that. It was well chiseled and well defined. And on that, the earrings were hanging, so beautiful pendants. Chibuka adhara sundara mrudu bola. And the chin was well defined, but not like protruding out. It was, very delicate balance of curve in there. कुमुद बंधुकर निंदक हासा ब्रुकुटी बिकट मनोहर नासा ब्रुकुटी बिकट मनोहर हासा. Brukuti, the eyebrows were well shaped without having to do any kind of threading. It was not artificial, it was natural. Looking at that, people would have gone for threading. मुझे रामचंद्र जी जैसे चाहिए. Narayana. A nice, shapely, curved eyebrows. Manohara NASA. This was not the North American Space Agency. NASA. Oh, that time also they had NASA. No, NASA means the nose. Sometimes the nose is like, like a tomato hanging in there. Or sometimes it is blunt. Sometimes it is very long, very sharp. But this was, very beautifully carved. The best of the size, the best of the length, the best of the sharpness, the best of the delicate curves. So the nose was, just looking at the nose, you could be meditating upon. That's how beautiful it was. Bikata Manohara Nasa. And then भाल विशाल तिलक झलकाही कच बिलो की अली अवली लजाही. भाल विशाल तिलक झलकाही. Bhala is the forehead. Sometimes the eyes, eyebrows, and suddenly the hairline starts. There is not much of a gap. The forehead is almost not there. And sometimes the receding hairline is so much that it is like only forehead visible. It's almost like a runway. I'm talking about those who are balding. It was of the right size. And on that beautiful bhala, the forehead, there was tilaka. There was a very nice, delicate tilaka going right from the middle of the eyebrows all the way up. One single stroke. Sometimes when you do multiple lines, it loses its uh, delicate or delicateness. This was just one stroke and it was very beautiful. That's why when the murti the alankara is to be done, and then we do the puja, and they say alankaram samarpayami, chandanam samarpayami, chandano kumkumam haridra churnam akshatancha samarpayami. So there is chandana, and then when you put the chandana, the eyes, nose, forehead, and everything is smeared around. And the one who is doing that himself or herself would stand in front of the mirror for minutes together and make sure that everything. When it comes to offering the alankara to the Lord, the patience is not there. It is. It should look so, pleasant, and that my heart just stops there. So the nice chandana, and that chandana had it's a combination. I think it was described earlier that Ramchandraji used to wear the chandana made of the paste made of the white sandalwood paste. So black, and then this white combination. It just glows. And Lakshmanji was wearing with a reddish tinge. So he was white. So the reddish tinge stood out. So the bhala was very beautifully decorated with tilaka. Now it is not like, we had this Amma who used to come when we were in the ashram studying. And on an average in the ashram, there were about 7, 8 different kinds of murtis. And for one there was bhasma, for Hanumanji there was sindura, for one there was kumkum, for chandan, and she would visit all the gods. And then by the time her forehead, she would come to the satsang, right from here all the way up here, there'll be different steps of her visits. So we had a nickname we used to call her Step Amma. That there were every step of her spiritual presence, attendance, the attendance mark was there on her forehead. Now this was very beautifully decorating his forehead. And from that forehead, and just above that forehead, was the hairline. And that hair was uh, very beautifully lush. uh, it was hanging out down. In Hindi they say, हाँ, काले घने गुंगराले लंबे बाल, dark, luscious, curly, long flowing. When they show the actor, the main actor, the hero coming in, and uh, the fan is right into their face, and the hair is like flowing, and then and the hair was hanging, and it, it was not like all over the place, but still there was a bounce to it. Is that the right word to use? There was a bounce to it. So much that the swarm of Brahmara, when you look at it, that would feel like, ashamed that, we are supposed to be dark, we are supposed to be black, we are supposed to be, shining. But here is something that we should aspire for, looking at his hair. And then, पीत चौतनी सिरन सुहाई कुसुम कली बिच बीच बनाई पीत chautani siran suhai. Definitely Tulsidas ji must have had the darshan of Ramchandra ji, because every time he describes, he does not forget to mention the shape of the turban that he is wearing. It was not a, what you call a mukuta, what you call the crown, but it was a turban. And this turban was chautani, kind of squarish. I still can't imagine, like a fathom as to how it would be shaped. It must have been something very beautiful. And how was that pagdi? Said it was having some delicate designs of kusuma embroidered with some designs of some floral designs. Some floral designs were, uh, you know, flowing through the turban. And even when you pack the turban, the sequencing of the design, the embroidered design, though it was all wound and round, and that one round and the next round going accordingly, the design was also feeling like flowing through, as if somebody had stitched it on the turban after having it tied. Can you imagine? Like, when some people wear sari, you really feel sorry that it is all over the place and everywhere, and it looks quite challenging. It looks almost like you have to carry the gear of protection. कहीं कुछ हो गया, पट कुछ हो गया. When we were young, we would call it like jhanda just about to be unleashed. The flag. But there are some who, when they wear it, it's like, especially the pallu has design, the fold, that the way they fold it, that one fold and the next fold, the design almost seems like seamlessly continuing. Though it is not actually a continuing thing, the way they fold it, it feels like that the design is continuous in spite of the folds. That's how it was. You envision it? रेखे रुचिर कंबुकलगीवा जनु त्रिभुवन सुषमा की सीवा. And his the kantha, it was like a conch shell. When the conch, it very delicately bends from the top and it comes down, there is that curve. So from the chin down and from the back, when you look at it, it was just bending in. That the Kavi, when they say, wish I was a mala on that, wish I was a garland on that, or a necklace on that kind of a neck. So the neck was very beautiful, like the shankha, the bend of the shankha. And he continues. कुंजरमणिकंठा कलित उरन तुलसिका माल वृषभ कंद के हरिठवनी बल निधि बाहु विशाल. After describing the face, now he and the neck is now going little lower. Kunjaramani kantha kalita. Again the pras alankara of ka ka ka. Kunjara kantha kalita. So on the kantha there was this beautiful necklace that was flowing down all the way to his chest, and this was made of beautiful pearls. They say there are some kind of elephants that when they live their Purna Aisha, their forehead, after they die, cracks open and it yields some kind of a rare pearls. Have you heard of it? You just heard. So the neckline was adorned with the pearls of such, which were from the Kunjara, the elephant. And then it also had, those were the white, and there was this dark tulsi beads, a mala made of the tulsi beads, and it was like a combination of the pearls uh, embedded in the tulsi mala. It was not the tulsi leaves, but it was made of the tulsi stem itself, and it was very beautiful combination. That, imagine that there is dark skin, and then the white pearls, two rows, and in between there was the tulsi, and it was a different kind of a combination, a very beautiful combination. So that was hanging from his kantha to the chest. And how was his chest and his bahu? Vrishabha kandha. Vrishabha kandha, the arms, the shoulders were looking like the, have you looked at the bull? The front of the bull, especially when you see the bull fight, and as in they're really robust looking, with the chest heaving and the front is really well defined, well made. Like when you do lots of these bench press, and it just swells up, not just in one day, over a period of time, and then it swells up. His shoulders were looking that robust, and then the, what do you call it? The shoulders and the biceps, they were like the lion's arms, very strong, and it was long arms, very powerful looking arms. And then he continues. कटितुनीर पीत पट बांधे कर सर धनुष बाम कर कटितुनीर पीत पट बांधे कर सर धनुष बाम बर कांधे. कटितुनीर पीत पट बांधे. Now on that beautiful well defined shoulder there was this yellow cloth which was tied down to their quiver, and that quiver was hanging royally on his shoulders. Kara sara dhanusha bama kara bande, and it was filled with arrows, and it was on the shoulder hanging, tied down by the yellow cloth. And most of it was pita. Pita is the yellow color. And there's another yellow color. Pita jagnya upabita suhaye nakha sikha manju maha chavi chaye. Pita jagnya, the yagnopavita, usually when you do the puja, you do every day the uh, upavitam samarpayami. Upavita, you offer the Yajñopavita. And the Yajñopavita is soaked in turmeric. And then you wear it. And nowadays we do the tradition of once a year at least change, Baba. Otherwise it looks such dirty. When we were still brahmacharis, when we were supposed to wear the Yajñopavita, Guruji would shock us by suddenly saying, we will be sitting there for dining hall with chanting 15th chapter. Suddenly Guru said, Chalo Yajñopi dikhao. And we were like, no. As soon as we, still we were the naughty kind or the mischief kind. And when we would see that Guruji is on a round of inspection, we would say, we'll not come for this round dinner. Next round, avoid being inspected. But then he was smarter than many of us put together. He would say, hey, where are you running? Come here. Show. I mean, the nitty-gritty details that he would observe, but that also has to be well maintained. And his was Pita Jagnya. Pita Jagnya, the fresh Yajñopavita that was hanging from his left shoulder down to the right side of his body. And that was hanging loosely. It was also strikingly, well designed. Well designed because the dark body and the yellow Yajñopavita hanging added its own beauty to it. And it says, Nakha Sikha Manju Mahacha Vichai. Nakha Sikha, from the uh, nails, the toes, all the way to the Shikha, the head. Everything was looking so beautiful, so delicate, Manju. देखी लोग सब भये सुखारे एक टक लोचन चलत न तारे. So everybody who was looking at it, ek tak lochana, ek lochana is like frozen eyes, that nobody was blinking their eyes. They're like, ah. They're so drawn in that the eyelashes forgot closing themselves. Otherwise, it is a involuntary motion that happens. Here, it was like it as if forgot its natural motion and it just stopped. Open-eyed, wide-eyed, and then just keep staring at. Lochana chalatana tare. And then they say, okay, next line. Harashe janaku dekhi do bhai, muni pada kamal gahe tab jai, kari binati nija katha suhai, ranga avani sab muni dekhai, jahan jahan jai kuvar bar do. Taha taha chakita chitav sabko. Now, King Janaka got up from his place and then he moved. He went closer to these two brothers who were closer to now Vishwamitraji. They had walked all the way. And while walking, this was all happening. Right? And as this was happening, now King Janaka also came off his throne and then walked down to these two. Actually, walked down to Vishwamitra ji, but what he walked down to was actually Ramchandra ji. So he went to Vishwamitra ji, but looking at Ramchandra ji also, ah, beta, aja, aja. We've been waiting for you only. Others have also come, but I was waiting only for you. And wherever these two went, everybody's eyes were like following them. Imagine that entire sabha and all eyes glued upon the entire arena was like glued upon these two. And suddenly they froze because they stopped. Janaka came in. Everybody's eyes were ek taka, unblinking, unflinching, wide-eyed. Everybody was seeing these two brothers. And now King Janaka had come, and then he prostrated to Vishwamitra ji, held his feet, did namaskara, and after having paid homage or respects to him, then what did he do? He actually took by hand these two young princes. So there are two. निज निज रुख ब्राह्म ही सब देखा, को न जान कछु मरम विशेषा, भली रचना मुनि नृपसन कहेऊ, राजा मुदित महामुख लहेऊ. निज निज रुख राम ही सब देखा. From their own individual perspectives, everybody was seeing Bhagavan Ramchandra ji. Nako janu kachu marama visesha. Nobody could point exactly as to what was happening, but something was happening. कुछ होता है. भली रचना मुनि नृपसन कहेऊ, राजा मुदित महामुख लहेऊ. The sage Vishwamitra ji looked at King Janaka and he said, "Wow, what arrangement! Amazing! I'm pleased." King Janaka said, "Has to be right." With pride, he accepted the compliments given, and then he leads them to. Every king was given a special place. He had a special place dedicated only for these three. Because he almost knew that he is going to be my son-in-law. And to my son-in-law, it has to be special. In North India, that to Mithila Nagari, it is not special. It is special. And in that special place, while he was leading, how was it? Sab manchan te manch ek sundar bisad bisal, muni samet dau bandhu taha baithare mahipal. Sab manchan te manch ek. Everybody had a little altar or little stage of seating, but there was a special seating among the seating, and to that seating, which was Visada Visala, which was special and spacious, Muni Sameta do Bandhutaha, along with Vishwamitra ji, these two young royal from Ayodhya Puri, they were led to this special seating, and he personally offered the seats to all these three. Already the special favor is already been shown, saying that everybody is in this what you call Aam Janta. You are my khas Janta. Therefore, khas seating for you. Not that everybody else had a ghas seating. That was also special, but among them, this was something very unique and greater than special. टाइम क्या हुआ है 9 हो गया Oh, okay. So we'll let them be seated comfortably. We'll continue this a week from now. Next week I'll not be there. So the week after that, we will continue. Oh, what is today? After that will be 28th. 20. 21st is what we will meet, right? No, 21st I'll not be there. So 28th, oh, yeah, because the puja will be in the afternoon. So 10 o'clock or 11th. It'll continue from there to afternoon, yeah. Don't get on to my case right now. You get the picture. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. What school are they all going to today? It looks like a school uniform.